We have consumers who urgently want their cars repaired, and we have to order the parts by serial number and await their arrival. And for retailers like us and many other dealers that have made the decision not to retail vehicles with unrepaired Takata airbags, it's disruptive to the business, no question about it.
60 million recalls, potentially deadly Takata airbags still out there on the road. It's the biggest auto recall in history, yet consumers can still buy new cars with these dangerous defective airbags that will eventually need replacing. The worst part of all this, it's still perfectly legal. Let's bring in the ultimate expert on all things automotive, America's syndicated motoring master, the car coach, Lauren Fix. Great to see you again, Lauren.
Thank you for having me back, John.
All right, so do car buyers understand, even when they're buying a brand new car, that it may actually have one of these tainted Takata airbags inside already?
I don't think that even comes to mind. It's funny, I do a lot of speaking events, and I always address the airbag situation. People are like, yeah, there's something going on, I don't know. So I don't think we're getting regular penetration of reaching as many people as the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration would like. They would like everyone to be aware. We're looking at totally worldwide, like 70 million cars. That's one heck of a lot of cars. So I think part of it is an education process of continuing and ongoing, which we are doing, and a lot of other suppliers and information people that put stuff out have let people know. I think what's really important to know is if you're going to buy a new car and it's recalled, it could be a GM product, a Honda, Toyota, Nissan, Subaru, whatever it might be, and they have to tell you, they have to disclose to you, John, you should know that when you buy this car, it's under recall.
Makes
and
sense.
We'll have to get it in before 2018.
Yeah, makes sense. So what is the interim option if you can't get your airbag fixed and you're still driving around with one in your car and you got to wait months and months to get it fixed? What's the option?
Well, I actually am in that position. I have 2 vehicles that are under recall. I contacted the service department of my local dealer. They said, yeah, we know, we have you on the list, but we don't have the airbag. So you have 2 options. One, they can, well, there's 3 options. Actually do nothing, which means you're going to have to be super aware and careful not to be, in an accident, which is called an accident for a reason. 2, you can have your
yeah, I'm already doing that, I think, every day. I'm trying not to get in any accidents. I'm already working on that part of it.
I hope so, John. That's kind of like that common sense. You can have the front airbags shut off, which I'm not a big fan of, because if you are in an accident, then you're just relying on the seatbelt, which takes away some of the safety features of the vehicle.
It's like 1988 all over again.
Exactly. Or you could say, you know what? I really don't feel comfortable with this. I would like to drive my car, but I can't. I want a loaner car for free. You can request one. Most manufacturers will supply one for you at some point, but I can't guarantee it's going to be the greatest thing under the sun. It's going to be another vehicle, but most likely, hopefully, it's one that has been corrected. Otherwise, you're back at square one.
Yeah, one you don't have to worry about an airbag blowing up in your face at one particular time. All right, you mentioned some of the manufacturers. I just want to go through 4 of them that are still selling cars with defective Takata airbags. That's Toyota, Fiat Chrysler, Volkswagen, and Mitsubishi. As if Volkswagen didn't have enough issues going on right now. But this just goes to show you, when you're looking at parts suppliers and one becomes the standard in so many manufacturers, it's a dangerous thing. You would hope there'd be more competition, more options out there for these car makers to go with a different kind of airbag. How do we get to this point?
There is. Delphi makes them. Autoliv makes them. It's all about price, right? Isn't it always about price? So how much is that airbag going to cost me? And I'm producing 20, 30, 40,000 cars. So obviously something that's less expensive to them, and they're claiming it's the same exact thing as other manufacturers are supplying. So what we've now come down to is a couple things. One, you are going to have desiccant packs. In other words, when you buy a pair of shoes or a purse or a bag, you get that little teeny pack that's white. It typically has some sort of little beads inside.
The silica gel. Do not eat. Right? We've all seen it, right?
Don't eat, don't give your children or your animals. That is going to have to be now put into these airbags, because what happens is over a period of time they dry out. That's where you end up having a lot of problems. The other part of it is, the airbags can obviously be replaced, but I think manufacturers are starting to realize, this is costing us a lot of money. We have to start looking at other suppliers. However, it's very interesting to note that as of today, Friday, which I find very interesting, this just came out like this afternoon, that a company in China is interested in purchasing Takata, because Takata is really pretty much going out of business. And if that does happen, how are we going to get these airbags to people that need them?
I'm
Something to
sorry.
consider.
You know, I'm sure there are things in China that are well made, but just the
Yeah.
reputation, I would not feel comfortable with a Chinese airbag in my car. Just
Well,
going
the
to say.
phones are okay. I have an Apple iPhone. Okay, I do know that they have tons and tons of quality control people there because the product being produced there is certainly not the level of the quality of things being produced here in the U.S.
Right, exactly. All right, one more thing we're going to talk to you about, Lauren, is what's happening right now in Texas. Going on down there, we've seen massive flooding, and we were reporting earlier today the Army is still looking for 4 missing soldiers after their vehicle rolled over driving through a creek at Fort Hood, Texas. But this
Right.
flooding has also spread through major metropolitan areas of Texas, including Houston. And after Hurricane Katrina, I reported on some folks who had bought a car. They thought they were getting a great deal, but it turns out that car had been in a flood. And after these types of natural disasters, these flooded cars tend to wind up on the market. Consumer Reports putting out a warning just recently. Hurricane and tornado seasons routinely damage a large number of cars. Unfortunately, many water-damaged cars can make it to the used car market. How big of a problem is this?
It's huge. It's just our Rita and Katrina. I remember how many years ago that was, Rita and Katrina. 650,000 cars just from that alone. So that's one thing to consider. The other thing is to note, okay, you could be in California, you could be in New York, you could be in Pennsylvania. When there's a flood and your car is flooded out, it happens to be a random situation, a flash flood, you might be able to go to your insurance company and get your money back, or at least a portion of your money back. But what happens is the insurance companies are supposed to disclose to Carfax and other reporting agencies, this car is damaged, do not sell it, it needs to go to a salvage yard. The reason is the safety features don't work. Water gets into electrical. We all know what happens. Would you take your phone and drop it in water? No. You wouldn't take your computer and drop it in water. And the reason is water destroys electrical components. So with water being there and your airbags don't work and anti-lock brakes and a lot of safety features that are what they call passive, they don't work until there's an accident, that is a serious problem. And it also voids the warranty totally and completely. So when you think you're getting a deal, I promise you, buyer beware, don't. If you're looking at a vehicle and you're thinking, yeah, that's not a bad price, John, I'm thinking we should buy this car, take it to your favorite ASE certified technician. Those are the ladies and gentlemen that have a gear on their sleeves. I'm an ASE tech. And I don't wrench on cars for a living, but I do know what I'm looking at. And they will put the car up on a lift, they'll look underneath it, they'll look at the exhaust, look at the fuse box, and if they see damage and they tell you it's flood damaged, I don't care how much that car is. Walk away. Tell that person you don't want that vehicle. If you're buying it from a used car lot, take it to some place that'll probably cost you $100 and $150 to have it inspected, worth every penny, because if you're in an accident, and this has happened, and things don't work, you're kind of on your own.
Yeah, and if you get the car and you have it for a certain period of time and everything is fine, and then you do have a problem later on down the road, your insurance company might say, I'm sorry, you're up the creek without a paddle, so to speak.
Exactly. And that's a very good analogy.
I'm very clever, right?
That was very good.
It was right there. It was right there.
Yeah, that's right. You had to take it. I get it. So, I mean, these are kind of things that people don't realize. They're thinking, well, flood damaged cars, who's selling them? Dealers are not selling flood damaged cars. Auction houses typically won't allow them to sell flood damaged cars. They have what they call green, yellow, red. Green, yeah, car's good, title's clear, no problem. Yellow, there might be some questions, but these are red light cars. These are cars that they sell at auctions saying these cars are not to go back on the market. After Rita and Katrina, there were fields full of these cars. They didn't know what to do with them. So many of them were not reported to Carfax, so they do not have the complete list. Some of them, the insurance agents sold off to a salvage yard, and they said, well, geez, look at this Acura, this Ford, this whatever, this Mercedes, which actually happened to my niece. And she said, I found this great deal on a Mercedes E-Class. I said, wow, that seems really good. I said, get me the VIN number, vehicle identification number. Looked it up. Car came from Louisiana. Guess what? Flood damaged car. If it's too good to be true, it's always too good to be true. You need to walk away. And the problem is there's no reporting. You can't call the police, the Department of Motor Vehicles, or a government agency. It's just a buyer beware thing.
Now, Katrina and Rita, that was almost 10 years ago, I believe, or maybe even more than 10 years ago. Have Carfax and the reporting, have they gotten better since then?
They have about 60% of the cars that are flood damaged. The problem is it costs manufacturers and insurers money to report that these vehicles have been damaged. And some of these people that are, we'll say, unscrupulous will take these vehicles and they do what's called title washing.
Yeah, and that's what happened. That's what happened to that couple that I met that dealt with this problem. It's an issue, something that consumers should certainly be careful of. Lauren Fix, we got to cut it off there, unfortunately, but great to see you. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. All right.
Thank you, you too.
All right, when we return, we asked a diverse group of voters what they think about the mudslinging in the political ads. Is it working? Their thoughts when Hardline continues after this.